Michael Donaldson with Anglers Marine NC out of Clayton, North Carolina. And I'm standing in front of the brand new 2021 Vexus VX20. This color right here is Frost Spectrum. Going down the front of this boat right here, it's a really clean looking boat. I've got a carbon black gel underneath the boat, as well as fiberglass fenders here on the outside. Something that you would notice just right offhand from this boat is instead of having grease filled bearings on the wheels here, we've got actually oil filled. You don't have to mess with those at all. They are 100% sealed, so you don't have to mess with filling those up at all. I've got storage right here on the trailer for anybody that wants to carry any tools going up and down the road. You don't have to worry about putting it in your toolbox, taking them in and out of the toolbox of the truck. As far as going down the trailer, you'll notice something really interesting just on this trailer as a whole. It looks like just about any other painted trailer out there. However, instead of having to worry about having to chalk your wheels going down the road or parking it at the campground, this has actually got a handbrake right here that I can actually put down. It's quite forceful, and then once it locks in place, there is absolutely no way you can actually roll this trailer down a hill one way or the other. It's just as simple to disengage. You just pull up on it, and it'll actually disengage the entire trailer to let it roll freely as far as in the garage or anything like that. Going forward, you've got a really beefy wheel jack right here. More beefy just as a whole than your standard real metal looking thing that you would see on some aluminum bass boats or even some of your Ranger bass boats going down the road. Coming around the front of the boat, I've got a Minn Kota Ultrex right up here, 112 volt or 112 pound with a 36 volt trolling motor. I've got the MDI at the bottom of the trolling motor here, linked to a Solix 12 up here on the front of the boat. I've got the winch right here, it's holding the boat in place with a double winch strap to the same hook, so you don't have to deal with battling two hooks at the same time when you unclip the boat. I've got, for the old guys that want to do a launch by themselves and don't want to climb all over the boat trying to get back in or get their feet wet or whatever like that, dealing with 50-degree water temps, etc. I can now step on from in front of the trailer, step up the 2 steps and step on the boat and launch it by myself. Then go around to the dock and tie it up. I've got, instead of having fixed cleats that are sitting up here on top of the boat, that would typically catch a lure or something sitting on the side of the boat and you might stub your toe against, I've actually got pull-up cleats right here. Make it nice and simple. As well as on the front deck here, I've actually got, instead of bungees or something cheap that you might see on the front of the boat, I've already got installed. I've got basically rod straps that can tie up front and hold your rods in place. On the back of the boat here, I've got brand new to Minn Kota this year. I've got some 8-foot Raptors, some of the fastest deploying in the market, as well as they've got the ability to sense bottom, so they can actually hammer themselves down further into whatever soil type or whatever bottom is, whether it be rock or silty sand. They're not going to hammer down too hard. In something like silt, so you get mired down, they'll actually just sense the bottom and you can just hammer down just enough to hold you in place. I've got a 250 horsepower Mercury Pro XS here on the back of the boat to get you from point A to point B. Looking at doing anywhere from about 70 to 73 miles an hour with this boat, depending on how you're loaded as far as full tank of fuel or heavy with tackle, 2 people, etc. I've got a manual jack plate here on the back also on this particular boat, so you can tune it and set the motor to wherever you want as far as on the fly. You don't have to be just trim alone. You can actually tinker with this motor setup just a little bit to try to maximize your top speed or your whole shot. So now we're going to get in the boat, and something kind of nifty about this boat in particular is I've got the ladder stowed away right here. I got a nice little grab bar just in case you fall in, something like that. You can hold on to this right here. But I can actually deploy with just the push of a button the ladder to get back in the boat and hold up to 300 pounds. I'm right here at 260 myself. It doesn't even flinch getting in the boat. And going in here, the first compartment that I'll show you is one of the storage compartments. Just something kind of cool that Vexus started doing here in the last little bit is I've actually got slam guards on all of my fiberglass containers, etc. So just in case when it is opened up in the lock position and your co-angler for whatever reason slams the compartment, it's not going to actually break your fiberglass on your gel coat on your containers or anything like that. You've got ample storage going through your battery box here in the back. I got shocks on right here on the back, as well as my battery switch here in the back. Got my cranking battery already in here, as well as a 4-bank charger for 3 trolling motor batteries and a cranking battery. I've got storage even extra in between down here in the bottom, so if you wanted to put in, say, you know, another charger, or if you wanted to run like a backup battery to hook up to your cranking batteries or something like that, you can totally do that without a doubt. And once again, still have the slam guard here on this container. In the back, I've got gas strut here on the live well to keep it open, just in case you're trying to fish any fish out of here or drop them in. You're not going to end up slamming your fingers with this. I've also got friction hinges here on both of my glass lids here. Both of these have actually got something kind of interesting all their own. They've actually got a little seal here around the outside, or around the inside of the lid, so that when you do close it, it becomes a completely watertight container, so that you're not getting any kind of rainwater or any kind of extra contaminants in your water that may be in your boat, whether it be like dyes or anything like that. Something also kind of interesting with that, with it being sealed like it is, there's 2 different settings on your live wells that you can do it to a standard fill, which would be to a 3/4 fill, generally on your live well, which would be your standard. But you can also fill these live wells completely to the bottom of the lid here and make it a completely pressurized environment, and it basically takes away all the slosh out of the live well. So you're no longer stressing your fish out on a really rough run. Moving forward in the boat, you'll notice that I've actually got deck here on top of what is the cooler, as well as 2 cup holders. But I've also got the Vexus emblem here with basically little water wicking strakes that come to the back of the boat. So any kind of rainwater, etc., the boat sits at just a slight angle, so it actually, all your water will run to the back of the boat, where there's actually a giant drain here that drains to the bilge, and then eventually drains out of the boat. This is actually called their cold spot cooler. I've actually got a little spot already off to the side here for any kind of sandwiches or anything you want to keep kind of out of the water, etc., as well as a place where I would put just all my normal ice, etc., to keep your drinks and everything else really, really cold. As far as actual time to keep drinks cold and stuff in the cooler, it's right now boasted time of keeping something cold is somewhere around 14 to 16 hours. Now that we're in the center boat of this VX20, I'm sitting here looking at this both of these seats right here, passenger and driver seat. Something kind of unique about these seats is I've got the Airwave pedestal up underneath. So if you've got really bad bumpy water, or you're fishing, you know, white capping conditions, etc., these seats have actually got basically pressurized shock systems with them. So instead of your back taking the brunt of the force throughout the day, you're actually going to have shocks that are actually going to take the majority of your weight off your back, and you're not going to have to worry about any of that going down the water. So as far as the guys that used to be having back surgeries in their 60s, 70s from all the bass fishing they've done, or multi-species work that they've done on the Great Lakes, etc., they're no longer going to have to worry about that right here, because this is taking all the force off right there. You've also got basically seats that slide. You can pull it forward for your guys that are really, really short, or your kids or your youngins, so they can actually put their feet up here to steady themselves up here at the front. But you can also slide it back for the guys that are, you know, 6'5", 6'8" guys. You know, you're really tall partners that they can see the fish real well, but they're not real comfortable in, say, an aluminum boat or anything like that. Over here off to the side, you'll see this really unique, you know, station to basically hold your rods. It's basically a little rubber band. Pull that back. I can put the butt of my rods right here and run them up the side here in this little channel that'll hold them in place as far as going down the water. Most times you would see on any other boat, it'd be flat and a really sharp edge right here, so your rods wouldn't actually be secured in place. They'd be bouncing around every which way, one way or the other. But now I can actually secure it in place with this little piece right here, and just lock everything in. Where I can hold up to 8 rods off the side here. No harm, no foul one way or the other. It just holds everything in place. Moving around to the front right here, I've got my general just all-around drawer where all your tools, loose lures, etc. normally would litter the bottom of your boat or off to the side. Now I can actually throw it all in here and it'll hold it all in place for me. I've got my tool holders. Generally, most boats you'll see there'll be a little extra add-on that somebody will have, you know, clipped to some part of the boat, or a little magnet, or, you know, something drilled in. You don't have to worry about that no more. I've actually got it right here. I put my pliers, I put my scissors, anything like that right here at the second corner of the boat right there. Moving on around to the console. I've got my tilt steering wheel for the guys that have got big thighs like me, or simply sitting up a little bit higher, anything like that, or somebody that's got long knees and he likes to drive real tensed up at the steering wheel. Something kind of unique to this boat, and you only see maybe once in a blue moon with any other boat anywhere else, is instead of having a normal key start, now I've got a keyless entry start. So I'll get within about 35 feet of this boat, and if I was in the water right now, I'd hit this right here, start, stop, and I can start this boat before I even get to it. So, you literally launch the boat, it's already good and running even before you get back to the boat. You can also hop out of the boat, I freaking left my motor on while I was going to go get the truck. I'm afraid somebody's going to tinker with it, whatever. I'm gonna walk away from it, I'm gonna push the button, kills the motor. Without this being near the motor or near this little remote right here, nobody can start your boat, nobody can take off with it. Nice little security feature. Also, if you are riding down the water and you don't have your standard kill switch attached to you, and you actually have this attached to you, while you're running the trolling motor or running your main motor, when you and this little device here hits the water, it'll instantly kill your motor for you. So it's another version of a kill switch. A lot of guys, they're running the trolling motor, and they've got the main motor running back here in their island or what have you, and they step to the front of the boat to go do something. Well, shoot, you just bumped into a stump or a piece of pole timber, and the motor's trying to, the boat's going away from you while you're, trying to get your trolling motor in or anything like that. It'll kill the motor for you, and it ain't gonna take off way on down the lake, just island, towards the end of the cove or what have you. Moving on around, I've got 2 round gauges here. I've got RPMs, and I've got my mile per hour gauges. Something that you notice that's different here that typically you would see in any other bass boat is I would generally have a digital gauge, or I would generally have a gas and voltmeter and everything like that, but now I've actually got all of that in, so I've actually got all of that now in my digital gauges here. So now I've got voltmeter I can see right here on this side, and I can toggle through to my fuel rate, so how much fuel I've burned in the day, to I got system set up so I can see how it's set up. I got my oil pressure, I've got how much fuel I've got in the boat, even engine data, fuel and everything. So then even on the other side, I've got speed on the water. I can do a digital display for that, as well as I've got depth here that I would typically have in a little big gauge. You typically see that on a ski boat or something like that. I've actually got my water temperature right here, which is not reading currently right now because I'm not in the water, as well as battery volts, etc., just like I would have on the other side. So that's just something kind of unique. You can actually toggle these 1 through 4 as far as what you want each button to do as far as commands go for this particular boat, as well as anything else. Over here on the side of the boat, so I've actually got a ladder deploy light on, because I currently still have the ladder down from when I got in the boat. So when you're underway and you're getting ready to start the boat and take off, this light will let you know that the ladder's down or it got accidentally deployed or something like that. You can go get the ladder in before you take off and potentially damage your boat or slow down your initial takeoff. Instead of doing normal toggle switches on the rest of the boat like you see on some other boats, etc., I've actually got little push buttons, and everything would light up as everything runs. I'd flip the bilge on, etc. I've got my nav anchor lights. I've got 3 accessory switches that I can hook up to whatever I want, whether it be extra units, hydro wave, run a stereo, etc. So I've got individual fuses also for all those things, just in case something in particular decides that it wants to short or anything like that. Over here on the side here next to the throttle, I've actually got if I wanted the different levels that I could fill my live well to, I've got full, which would be all the way to the full top edge, which would be completely vacuum sealed. As a whole, it'd basically be anti-slosh technology, as well as normal fill, which would be basically a 3/4 fill in the live well. I've also got basically if I wanted to empty the live wells, I can empty the live wells by switching it to empty right here, as well as a recirc, which would basically recirculate the water that's already in there. So if you're just needing a little bit of oxygenation or a little bit of current for your fish,